And good morning from McKenzie Mountain right here in Republic, Washington. It's been 11 or 12 days since we've done this. I think we were gone 11 days total, and so this would be the 12th day of our trip, and we had quite an eventful time. Everything went very well on the trip, all the way down to Jerome and then Salt Lake City, across Wyoming into Denver and Inglewood area. We were there through the week. We left on Friday in the middle of a snowstorm that actually closed the highway between Colorado and Wyoming as we were going through. We had to stop for just a little while up in Fort Collins and got a cup of coffee at Starbucks until they opened up. But then we were driving through, monster winds. At least I thought they were blowing pretty hard, about 40-mile-an-hour gusts. They shut down the highway to campers, any vehicles under 20,000, any trailers under 20,000 pounds. So we drove through that and just pushed the wind the whole way through Wyoming on Friday. It wasn't terrible driving, except for we just got bad gas mileage through the day. We spent the night in Billings, saw a preacher friend, a young couple starting a church in Billings, Montana, and had dinner with them, and then we saw the building that they're meeting in, spent some time with them. We got on the road on Saturday morning, and the wind was blowing then. The wind was blowing between, I don't remember the name, Big Timber, between Big Timber and Livingston. The crosswinds were 70 miles an hour plus. We were watching, it was blowing the trim off of cars on the highway. So one guy was in a motorhome and he pulled over because he couldn't drive any far. It just couldn't go anymore. They were pulling off trucks and semis and everybody pulling them off the road there. And but he's outside of his motorhome. He couldn't even stand up. He's an elderly guy, a little older than me, I think. Hard to tell sometimes. I don't think I look very old. So I think that people my age, sometimes I see them and I think, man, they must be much older than me, and it turns out they're not. Switching my water tanks here. Got to give it water for my cattle, keep everybody happy and fed around here, and so we're working on those things. Anyway, he couldn't even stand up. He's hanging on to his motorhome trying to work around to the door of it or something, and man, it was something, and quite the wind. And the crazy thing is just as soon as it, we got right to Livingston, and the wind stopped, just stopped. And so on the way home, I preached in Plains, Montana. Last Sunday, I spent the day in Plains and spent a couple of days. There's 2 nights with my preacher friend there, and I preached for him. And then we left there on Monday morning. We're heading down to Kellogg, Idaho. I was going to look at a couple of vehicles, their new trucks. I'm wanting to replace my Dodge pickup. I've got a Dodge 2500. And that we had for pulling the fifth wheel when we lived in the fifth wheel. And it's got a 5-inch lift on it. It's just way bigger vehicle than I want to keep and have. And so I'm looking at replacing that anyway. And so we're driving through Kellogg, Idaho, where Dave Smith wanted to go there. Anyway, though, we left our friend's house at Plains on Monday morning. My wife and I were visiting, talking, and drove right past the turnoff to go to St. Regis and back to I-90. And we were driving, talking, and pretty soon I said, I don't remember any of this. And she says, I've kind of felt like we were lost for the last 20 minutes. And sure enough, we had driven 25 miles up the road the wrong way toward Kalispell and turned around, had to go back. But anyway, spent all of Monday really just working on getting the new vehicle. It's a Gladiator, and but it had a rock chip in it, and so they were going to pay for the window to be replaced in a place down in Post Falls, and so that meant spending the night in Post Falls. And then we spent the place in Post Falls that was going to replace the window. They had to order it, so that meant spending about a day there. And so we got home last night about 8:30 or something like that. So anyway, quite an eventful trip. We enjoyed ourselves a great deal, but glad to be home. So the Lord bless you and keep you and make his face shine upon you, be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.